Let me give you a backstory of this whole thing. In 2022, when I started to do social media, now TikTok, I did make my videos. It was from that TikTok that we started fighting during the election, because me, na Peter Obi, na campaign for 100%. I was so into the Peter Obi campaign that during the election, I packed boys, go polling units, so that anybody who wants to stay ballot box, we go chop in father. We ginger for the election 100. Now, after the election, they can't announce Tinubu, they don't announce Obi. We vex, we enter streets. As we enter streets, we ginger, they protest so that other youths will join us. When we ginger, cause wahala, then they go rerun the election. Then Peter Obi now what they ginger for, he no come ginger with us. So you can't say we go court. Everybody's spirits can't die. Now, when Jenny
Barrister, this is in fact, when I got this, I saw this video a few days ago, I was saying, I wish I had this video earlier. This is exactly my point. You heard everything Verydarkman said here. This was my point. I when I was saying it, people were saying Nigerians were not ready for that. That was my point. I said at that time when Peter Obi, when INEC announced this, they stole our mandate and gave it to this so-called criminal, not so-called criminal, this criminal of a president, and handed it to him. People, Nigerians, the youth were really ready to go on the streets. Just watch, just listen to what you just heard. What Verydarkman said. That was exactly, the guy had already mobilized. They were ready. They were in the spirit to do that. They already started in Edo State, expecting other states to pick up, and that would have been that was the tempo. I felt it then that the Nigerians were really ready for it. The Nigerian youth were ready for it. And the next thing Peter Obi came out to do was just to quench, just to kill their spirit. That is for those of you who have been following. This is the reason why. For those of you who have been probably following me on the criticism of Peter Obi's how he failed to do what he was supposed to do after the 2023 election. This is the only reason. Now it doesn't stop me from, because like I said, he's still the best candidate we have right now. It doesn't stop me from still supporting him. But the problem is that he cannot experience that same spirit. He cannot experience that level of success anymore. He can't even get close to that. The closest that Peter Obi has gotten to the White House, to Aso Rock, was in 2023. He will never get that close anymore. He will never garner that kind of support again, because he has lost. I will still vote for him. There's no doubt. I will still support him, but it's not going to yield any fruit. Nothing will come out of it. So this is my point. This has been my point. That if we had protested, if Peter Obi had piloted or had spearheaded and encouraged the youth, that if we had protested, I bet you Bola Tinubu would have. Because if you watch through that, well, I didn't allow it to finish playing. Verydarkman said the purpose was, when they started that protest, their purpose of that, the purpose of that protest was to annul the election and reorganize, rerun that election, because it was fraud. And at least we would have either had a rerun, or we had a kind of a quagmire that would definitely, that eventually will never ever allow Tinubu to be sworn in. That is my point. This is the problem I have with Peter Obi. This is the criticism I have against him, and this is why I decided to. Since then I've been a very strong critic of Peter Obi, regardless of me still supporting him, because he's the best. He's in the eye of a blind, in the community of blind men, or in the country of blind men or corrupt politicians. Peter Obi is a saint. He's the only saint that stands out. The only one-eyed man that stands out. And that's why, as much as I still criticize him, I will still vote for him and support him. Barrister.
Yes, my view has always been a bit different. I have said repeatedly that once he entered into that system, he was bound to follow the rules of the system. And the reason I say it is that I'm not convinced that if a protest, even led by him, had happened, it would have ended up in annulling the election or rerunning it. knowing what I know in Nigerian politics and the way things operate, he would not have achieved that result of annulling the election or even preventing Tinubu from, of course, chaos. There would have been chaos, but I doubt, in my opinion, I doubt if he would have succeeded in annulling the election and rerunning same or making Peter Obi
Okay, let me give you reasons why. Why I thought and I think that protest could have yielded result. Now, if such had happened and it spiraled across board in Nigeria, it would have been look. The purpose is not for internal sensitivity. The purpose is for global sensitivity. Europe, US, they have businesses in Nigeria. They have things they do in Nigeria. They are interested in Nigeria's economy because they have interest here. They have investments here. So hitting the system up will affect their businesses and their revenue generation. So that
exactly for that reason, because they are the people who sponsored and supported Tinubu. They would have
they didn't. Barrister,
they would have moved quickly to nip any protest in the
Barrister, I bet you, honestly, the West did not support Tinubu in the first place. The support for Tinubu from the West came after about 2 weeks after the election, when they realized, come on, this person, we can use him, we can blackmail him to actually use him for our own purpose. It was 2 weeks or 3 weeks after the election, or whatever. That was when they now started supporting him. Initially, the European Union, the US, or everybody, I'm telling you, they did not support him. That's honestly, the West did not support Tinubu. I categorically, I'm 100% sure they did not, because we were following the report, we were reading reports, we were reading the tempo, we were reading the atmosphere, we were reading, there was no, you saw it, even after the election, immediately after the election, the reports that came out, the entire European Union, they didn't support the election. They criticized the election. US criticized the election. It was after 2 weeks, all of them started gradually accepting, because what happened? They now sat back and said, oh, this guy is a criminal. So we can actually use him, because in the first place, we don't even want Nigeria to succeed in the real term. So we can still use him for our own benefit, because the truth is that the West they always support the wrong candidates. They always back the corrupt candidates. And that's exactly what they now saw Tinubu as someone they can actually use for their own benefit. And that is when they started supporting him. So back to my point, honestly, if Peter Obi had become a political hero by actually, first of all, rejecting that result and protesting, going on the street to lead the protest, I am telling you, that would have been a very, the West or the global community would have called the system the government of the day. Look, do something about this. Find a way to ameliorate the situation. They would have intervened, and that would have mounted pressure on the system to avert, because at that time, the Tinubu had not been sworn in. That would amount serious pressure to withhold that swearing in, and in one way or the other, find a way to actually cushion the negative effect. Anything could have happened. Now, what could have happened? I don't know, but the truth is that it would have actually squeezed the system from swearing in Tinubu. Anyway, that is just assumption. Only God knows what could have happened. We are just permutating on just assuming on what could have happened. So that is just it. But again, at least Obi could have. My point is, whether it could have yielded fruit or not, he could have done something. At least let him do, just like Adeyanju. The only thing I agree with Adeyanju on, that Obi has not made any sacrifice. At least offer yourself as sacrifice for the so-called, I won't call democracy, for Nigeria and Nigerians. You are the most loved. I mean, genuinely, organically, spontaneously loved and passionately loved politician Nigeria has ever produced. None. Up till now, nobody has. Only Peter Obi has that organic followership. And yet, this man cannot give what is being given to him. If such amount of love is given to you, you reciprocate by giving the same love, by putting up yourself as a sacrificial lamb. Whatever happens, whether you live or you die, the same thing. Just like VDM will say, he's given up. He's come out with everything and anything he's got. Whether if he leaves, fine. That he said he's even ready. He's already positioned his mind that he's ready to die for this cause. That is a kind of person. That is the kind of icon, the kind of person we need for Nigeria at this point. That is my problem with Peter Obi. Peter Obi does not have that courage to actually stand for Nigeria and Nigerians. He's still operating in within the comfort zone. Of course, he's a billionaire. He's a very, very rich man, unlike so many activists. So I can understand that, but at the same time, if you still have that spirit of comfort, why are you coming out? Then stay in your comfort, stay within your comfort, because political space or activism space it's a very rough terrain, and you just have to be rough. You have to be, if you are in Rome, you behave like a Roman. You have to be rough to be able to succeed in this terrain. That man, my problem with my only gross with him or against Peter Obi is that he's just too gentle for Nigeria, for the Nigerian system. You can't take power. Power is taken, not given. Nobody will hand power to you. You have to fight for it. Fighting for it is not just about criticizing, verbal fighting. Fight it by action.